right, we are back. Thank you for coming back and joining me again for my interview with the infamous PB0. The first part of the interview, we had a lot of fun and we talked about random subjects, but we're getting ready to get into something very serious and a subject that is near and dear, which is gun rights and gun rights. And there's a lot of misconceptions, guns, everything surrounding guns and who has the right to own them and what you can do with them, and from how many bullets to what type of gun has been politicized to the point of ridiculousness.
And then it even depends on what state you're in.
Yep.
Like, because if you're in a completely different state than I'm in, there's going to be different laws.
Correct.
Like Maryland, like in the state of Maryland, people don't know. Suppressors, completely legal. You can buy a silencer legally straight from a gun shop. Shout out one of the only black-owned gun shops I know out here in the DMV, right there, close to Addison Road. It's on 214. It's right there by if anybody knows where the billiards hall is, it's right there. It's called EBJ Guns. Okay. Mr. Earl, he runs it.
EBJ Guns.
EBJ Guns. And he does it all himself, and he's very knowledgeable, and he taught me a lot. And I've only been to his shop a few times, so
yeah, he also has a location in Bowie as well.
Yeah. But like in Maryland, you can't. Oh, does he?
Yeah, he's got a little location in Bowie, but the Capitol Heights location, that's 240-876-2255. So
that's the one I go to.
All right.
Yeah. I didn't even know he opened a new location. That's what's up, man. Because I've been in the shop, and man, oh yeah,
I'm on the website. I'm on the website. Some nice stuff on here, y'all. It's like Christmas came early. Check them out. ebjguns.com.
Yeah, but so another thing in Maryland, like you technically in Maryland you can only buy a standard magazine. You can't buy an extended nothing. You can't buy a drum. You can't buy a 30 stick. You can't buy none of that. Okay. But the loophole to that is you can go out of state, buy it, and bring it home and legally own it in Maryland.
And by go out of state, you mean you can go out of state, purchase something, and then that particular place.
You could go to a gun shop in Virginia, purchase it. You can have it sent to a gun shop in Virginia and go purchase it. I mean, like that. Or if they have it on display and they have it available, you can go get it.
Okay.
Yeah. But the gun laws are real touchy. You know what I'm saying? Like so they say that we have these certain rights in the Constitution that, and don't they call them inalienable rights, correct?
Correct.
Inalienable. They're saying that these rights in the Constitution are inalienable. Meaning what? What you're on the computer, and I don't want to misinform anybody. Why don't you? What is under and All right. Because these inalienable rights, bro, like
the act.
Go ahead.
These are our inalienable rights. Just to give you an example of what they are. Bear with me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had it for you. So there's a long list of them. There's 16 of them.
16. Okay.
16. Number one is the act to act in self-defense, personal, family, innocence, or your nation.
And that's the first one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. That's number one.
The first one.
And I would point to you in parenthesize what they say. They in the actual right, it states that to act in self-defense, so to defend oneself, personal, one's family, innocent people that one may not know, and one's nation. That's the first.
That's only the first.
It's the first.
America's how many? 16.
Yep. To own and carry weapons for self-defense and for ensuring that the nation remains free. To own and control private property, land, money, personal items, intellectual property, etc. To earn a living and keep the fruit of one's labor, to freely migrate within the country or to leave the country, to worship or not to worship God in the manner one chooses, to associate with or disassociate from any person or group. You want me to read the rest of these or the first?
I mean, we don't have to go through the whole thing. I mean,
you got rights. You got rights. Is what
that could
saying.
be a whole show all on its own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
but we're going to focus on the first two. The first two.
Yeah.
So the first two: to act in self-defense of a person, family, innocent nation, and to own and carry weapons for the self-defense of the nation. There we go.
I mean, sounds good to me, right?
Yeah.
It sounds like, they're trying to say that everybody has this right?
They're saying it.
But there's no asterisk next to there, and there needs to be.
Okay. And why would there be an asterisk?
Because if the 13th Amendment of the Constitution states that slavery nor involuntary servitude shall forth be legal except for the punishment of a crime.
Right.
Therefore, that means what slavery is still legal and it still happens. It's what these prisons is about.
Right.
But once you catch that felony, you're a criminal for life. It follows you everywhere.
Okay.
Now those certain inalienable rights get taken from you.
Okay.
The first two do.
Okay.
You was a criminal. Once you were criminal, you were criminal.
Now, are there places where that can be restored?
There are, but there's always a catch and always a clause. It has to be a certain type of crime.
Okay.
There has to be a certain amount of has passed since not necessarily the crime, but since the end of the sentence, meaning like the end of, because if you go to prison 9 times out of 10, you're not done with your sentence when you come home. You're still on parole, or you might have probation that follows or something of the sort.
Okay.
So therefore, when that ends is when that starts. I got a CDL8. I've been barred from a lot of jobs because it hasn't been 10 years since I've gotten off. Not regardless of since the charge occurred and, I was found guilty in 2007. What year is it now? I forget.
2022.
2020 fucking what? Two? And
right.
I'm still getting punished for something that happened when I was like 18, 19 years old, bro. I'm 35.
Wow.
Not because I've been in trouble since.
It's just that this has followed you this entire time. And no matter what you do, you can't make amends.
I can't do fucking Lyft. I can't do Uber. None of that shit.
Now, there are instances where a felon can get it back. However,
yeah, like I said,
it cannot be like in Indiana, a person can petition the court to have their firearms restored, and in Kentucky, a convicted felon can apply for expungement, but not until 5 years after his or her sentence has been completed. Several states differ. Let's see. I found some information earlier. Louisiana, after 10 years from the date of completion of a sentence, probation, parole, or suspension, you can possess firearms. In Minnesota, the same, 10 years. In South Dakota, 15 years. In Wyoming, if you received a pardon from the government,
that's another one. That's like an expungement. There's certain stipulations. A lot of people can't. They don't qualify.
So in a sense here, so a felon,
sit down if you want them.
even if they have made amends and they've paid their debt to society, still cannot defend themselves in case they themselves are a victim of a crime. Is this what I'm hearing correctly?
Basically, yeah. So because I have a felony,
Mm-hmm.
me having a gun that's a no-no.
So how does one protect themselves? If
I guess if
one
they
was
got a gun, I gotta call the police.
okay,
Right? I gotta call the police because police response are always fast enough when shots are fired.
right,
Ambulance too, I mean, because they're there in a fucking second to protect you.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
And,
most people die from gunshot wounds.
right.
Nowadays, like I mean, at least out here. I can't speak for nowhere else. I only know about what goes on out here. And from what I've seen, I see more people dying from gunshot wounds than people surviving.
And a lot of times when you do call them, when a felon, whether they're engaged in criminal activity or not, after they've come out, when they do call the police, there's a fear that the police will kind of cherry pick and decide to, put something on them, even though they were the ones that in fact call for help. Is that, and this happens a lot, right?
Yeah, there's that. And then, if you've been through the system, you know how you've been treated by police.
Right.
Just period. Like growing up my whole life, like it was never really pleasant interactions with the police. It was always, what you doing here? Why you here? Let me see what's in your pockets. Let me search you. Man, so many illegal. Like if I would have knew then what I know now, I probably could have been sued a bunch of fucking police departments, bro. Because I just remember being searched for nothing, just because I'm walking through a neighborhood and I look like I don't belong here because it's an all black neighborhood. And, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't belong here. What are you doing? You coming to get some weed or something? Like
you must be up to no good.
It's like, nah, like I fucking live here.
But I find this because you don't look at it from this standpoint, and even myself, I'm not a felon, and so I do enjoy the right. I would say enjoy, but I do take advantage of the right to bear arms
and you should
and defend me and my family.
Here's what I'm saying: if one, okay, we know felons aren't supposed to be able to vote either, right?
Right.
That right was restored when I came off of papers.
Right.
I didn't have to petition anything for that.
So your right should be depending on the crime. Well, even I you bring up a valid point, and I don't think it's discussed in this manner. When you really think about this, it's okay. When is enough, and when can I if you say you want me to be a part of society and to join society, I should be able to defend myself and my family from another criminal who may want to harm me, right?
Isn't that what was just defined as an inalienable right?
Right. So should those inalienable rights, but people, there is others who would say that, okay, but that's part of the crime, depending on the crime, that's part of it. And that should be something that maybe it doesn't help the individual, but it can be used to deter someone who may be thinking of entering a life of crime. Well, look at what this person has to endure because of that.
Let me ask you this.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, no, and I hear you 100% because you're gonna have people. Oh, you're a felon. You were a criminal. You have no business touching a firearm at all. Because all you're gonna do is rob people, shoot people, kill people. Right? Stereotype. What is that? This is a stereotype.
That is.
It is. And then think about it. Now, granted, the charge I was caught for, we're not going to talk about.
Right.
You can look it up. It's public knowledge. Anybody want to find out about me, look me up, and you're going to find out that everything I say is
factual. Right.
Factual, dactual. And what they were saying like a little while ago. Yeah. Nah, but bro, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
No, we were talking about the people that would say that a felon, this is part of it. This is part of the punishment, and that should be used to deter others from going down that road.
And the felon shouldn't have a gun, right? Well, let me ask you this: why these 13, 14-year-old kids running around here shooting delivery drivers that do Uber Eats and shit?
That's the point.
Where they getting the guns from?
Right.
It's so easy to get a gun.
Right. Well, they have them illegally too. They're other criminals.
And that's what I'm saying. But the police ain't out here stopping it. They ain't out here protecting us. Right. They're not protecting me. I got to protect myself. You know how many guns I'd have had pulled in my goddamn face? And I had to deal with it on my own.
Right. Now, what I've noticed,
illegally, of course, fortunately, I was blessed with, I know how to talk my way out of a lot of fucking situations.
which most people have to do. Not everyone is carrying, especially in Maryland. So now what's interesting is if you look at a lot of open carry states, the instances that you're speaking of tend to be low. Now, even though places like Florida and Louisiana,
right here in Prince George's County, you know that homicides are down while gun charges are up, because everybody's carrying. And I think that's really the only way that anybody really is going to feel safe. So everybody should have this right to carry. Okay, but especially when you got people out here who has no regard for anybody else's life, I have the right to try to make it home to my family at the end of the day.
Well, that is you bring up a valid point. So if everyone is carrying, which we're assuming, we don't have the raw data to say that, but we can only assume that with gun charges being up and murders being down.
I'm only going to use their data,
right?
Because that's all they're going to go off of.
Right. So there is a correlation with that, and you do bring up a valid point where, and what I would like to know is, are there felon groups or felon advocates who are really seriously considering this, or is this and let's just be honest, is this a losing battle? Because is this something that will even make it to the House?
I'm the type to say never say die, bro. Because once you give up, you never know how far you would have to kept going. It might only have to been a half a mile, and then you would have got it. So you can't quit, bro. Okay. And it's going to be a long one. It's going to be
but is this a battle that can be fought? And the reason why I'm asking is because I'm playing devil's advocate, because here's what the proponents are going to say. If we arm felons, what's to say they won't return to a life of crime? And they would say, also say, yeah.
And so my response to that is, a felon's going to be a criminal. A person's going to be a criminal regardless of whether they have a gun or not. Okay. So to say that giving a person a gun is going to make them into a criminal, that's a bit preposterous. That's like saying the gun kills somebody and not a person kills somebody. You hear me?
And this is part of and this would be part of getting that to the floor, which is educating the general public, on.
No, I do agree. There are some people that do not deserve guns. But I don't think felon status should just be an automatic no. I think everybody should have to go through some type of psychological evaluation.
Do you feel that a felon should go through more?
I think a felon should at least be afforded the opportunity.
Okay. So it should not be easy.
Afford me the same opportunity. Okay. You know, if I've been out of trouble for 10 years or so, shouldn't I have the opportunity to you're telling me that, okay, I don't have to be held accountable for this, right? Because I did my time, is what they always say, right? But it still follows me around. Like I said, there's still certain jobs I can't do because of something I did when I was a teenager.
Well, and the reason I'm asking the questions the way I'm asking is because I feel that society looks at things the wrong way. I feel that society is trained.
They're trained because they're only taught to think one way, and they're not taught to ask questions. Why?
If they would ask a question. Well, if you ask a person, what is your apprehension to a felon rejoining society? What is your apprehension to working next to a felon, or what is your apprehension to a felon having a firearm? And they're focused on the felon where they should be focused on, well, why wasn't this person rehabilitated? See, they're not focused on the system, the failure of the system. Right.
I can answer about the rehabilitation. So when I was in prison back in we're going to say around between 2007 to 2013, right? As I was leaving out, they had already taken out a lot of programs. Okay. Now, what they had did at first, they had made it mandatory that if you didn't have a high school diploma, you had to go straight into a GED program, which I thought, I was like, you know what? That's good. Respect. High
Make
school
it work
diploma.
for it. Yeah.
Work, you know what I'm saying? And then they pay you to go to school. So there's some incentive to do that too. It's real easy. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
They started taking out a lot of the college degree programs. You remember, you used to be able to get whole college degrees in prison.
Multiple degrees,
when I was leaving, they was talking about taking out the barbering programs.
Now, is there a correlation between repeat offenders and the lack of these programs too?
There has to be.
Yeah,
Like,
I would
listen,
be interested
listen.
to see this.
Well, maybe not only that, but think about it. Like, all right, so statistically speaking, people are incarcerated due to economical situations.
Okay.
It has to do with money. It's either that or it's over some type of assault or something violent, and 9 times out of 10, that's either over money or a woman. Mm-hmm. Even more statistically speaking, it happens upon the people in your area, the people you live around. You know, like I've gone over all kinds of different numbers and theorized on a whole bunch of different shit.
Okay.
That I think really the only answer to real crime, if they're not going to rehabilitate people, because they're not rehabilitating people, bro. They're not. You're throwing people in a box with other criminals, and all they're doing is teaching other people how to commit crimes in different ways. And they're
So
not.
this goes back to what you said.
Fundamental. It's happening because there aren't opportunities to work for these people.
So it's a consistent slave cycle. It goes back to what you said originally.
And out.
It's set up so that once you're in it, it doesn't let you go.
What are the demographics in damn near every prison in this fucking country, bro? Yeah. Let's go over that.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear. We've talked about it. I just want to.
We know about it.
I like to lead people down the path so that it just. If you lead with this subject, people tend to turn a deaf ear. Oh, I don't want to hear that. But if you try to walk them down to the conclusion, say, we're not saying this is what it is, but this is what it appears to be, and refute it for me intelligently with numbers. So the numbers and we're showing you that, okay, we have a more dangerous society, and you have a set of people, a growing population, due to whatever reason you want to say, whether you want to say it was bad choices, whether you want to say it's economics, whatever. We have a growing population that is entering the world and has an inability to defend themselves in any way, shape, or form. As a felon, you can't have a sword, you can't have nunchucks, you can't have throwing stars. You can barely have knives in your house. So the question is, and then you have contentious interactions with political figures and police. So the question is, okay, are we throwing these people away? And then when you bring these subjects up, the average person tends to focus on the lack of rehabilitation, but not the reason there's a lack of rehabilitation. They just assume that, I wouldn't want to work with you. I wouldn't want to live next to you. I wouldn't want you having a gun. But why is that? Because you feel they're still criminals. You feel they're still criminals because whatever happened to them, whatever punishment they received, was not sufficient in your mind to rehabilitate them. So these are unrehabilitated people that were just taken off the street for a period of time, and now they're put back on the street to terrorize us in the mind of normal people. Yeah. So if this is the case, if normal people feel that the prison system in its current form, the probation system, everything is not working, it's not rehabilitating people, then why are we not looking into that system to try to change it so we can improve society as a whole? And that's my hope.
I know why.
Yeah.
For-profit prisons. For-profit prisons. We live in the state of Maryland, don't we?
Yep.
We ever heard of Maryland Correctional Enterprises?
I have, but has the average person done?
Maryland Correctional Enterprises. What does that tell you? I know what that tells me. The state of Maryland, and this is government owned, has a stake in prisoners making them money. And they do.
I find it funny.
I've been all through the Maryland prison system, bro.
Ben Shapiro. I know you don't. I know how you like. I know you love Mr. Shapiro. and I'm more of a pragmatist and a contrarian.
I listen to everybody, even if I don't like.
I do too. I still listen because there's wisdom within always bullshit. Wisdom.
Always wisdom.
So, but Ben Shapiro will tell you that the government is too big, and the government has its hands in too many things. I would say the government doesn't have its hand. Well, I disagree, and I'll tell you why.
Here's my problem with the government. It's too compartmentalized, bro.
In a way. But the reason I disagree is because the government isn't in what they're supposed to be in. So they got their nose in stuff they shouldn't be in. So if the government was running the prison system like they were supposed to instead of privatized industries, then maybe it would. But maybe they wouldn't have time to worry about whether you can have an abortion or not. You know, I mean, I'm just saying. If they weren't.
They have no business.
You know, corporations are the government now. This is so. If you say that corporations in their governmental facets shouldn't be around, yes, I'll agree with that.
Technically, the United States of America is a corporation.
You're a corporation. I'm a corporation.
I'm a corporation. Yeah. You all know about a straw man. Well, I can't say we all, but some of us know
Just don't go get that money because they will lock you up.
Oh man, they're gonna come for you.
Hey, and by the way, what's up with new NYC? No offense. I mean, I love the subject, but what's up with New York, man? Something's popping in New York. Hey, anybody in New York, please comment on this.
Now, what's going on?
What I'm hearing is that local governments are telling all residents of New York to have a bug out bag ready, which everyone should have. You should all have a bug out bag ready.
A bug out bag? You mean like
with a bug out bag with your debit cards, credit cards, with your proof of residence, with some clothes, with a first aid kit. Just have it ready. Why? Just have it ready.
You mean get in my car because I keep all that shit.
Have it ready. No, they're not saying your car. Just hear me what I'm saying. They're not saying your car. They're saying have it on you. This is New York we're talking about. So
I hear you.
You feel me? So and then I don't know if you saw that conspiracy theory Cardi B shared about the flood coming, some tsunami that's supposed to be coming. And I already don't trust HARP as far as I can throw them. I've been talking to HARP stuff for years. People are not paying attention to what HARP's doing, playing with the weather and playing with the polar ice caps and all that good stuff. Not to be white. Not to be white. I know they coming.
You got to be careful talking about the weather though, because you know the people they came for Trayon, bro.
Hey, they killed. I believe to this day I still believe they killed Dick Gregory. So
man, I'm surprised they let him live as long as they did. Let me say that.
Well, he was considered a crazy old man until he really started talking about space elevators and all that stuff.
I always listen to him though, but I don't know.
Some of it might have been a little, age-related hyperbole, but there's always good stuff in there. But
is it hyperbole or is it hyperbole?
I don't know. I think it's both. I think one is the past tense.
It's interchangeable.
And one is the present. Yeah, one is the present tense, and one is the past tense. Like hyperbole was to describe something from the past, and hyperbole is something happening currently.
I don't know. Hyperbole. That sounds like something to do on Saturday night, though. Like with the remember the cosmic bowling?
Yes, with all the black lights and everything.
Yeah, that was the shit, bro.
That was hot. That was back. We're gonna have one. I want to have a podcast on that one day. We just talk just straight back in the day stuff. I mean, I'm a little older than Peebo, but it was similar.
Yeah, I mean, but I was hung out with old people, so
that's all right. But you do have a point. This whole gun, I think it started out with us talking guns, and it really got into that human rights. There's a human right aspect here, and people do have a right.
If other people can have guns, everybody should have a gun.
Everyone should have one, because if everyone has a gun, no one has one.
You letting these mass shooters running around here fucking crazy with these fucking fully automatics, and I'm not saying ban fully automatics. I'm just saying let everybody be able to arm themselves.
Now, I would love to do some research on the correlation with how many mass shootings happen in these open carry states. I would love to see a correlation. And that's another thing the government isn't in anymore. The government should be in on mental health.
And then what was this last? I don't think it was even the last one, because there's always a mass shooting somewhere. Yeah. What was the joke? The Uvalde, and then Bama's was like all up in the school for like an hour strapped up and was like too pussy. And then there was a mother who hopped the fence and went and got her fucking kids out the fucking window.
Yeah, I'm getting my kid. Yeah, I'm getting my kid. You ain't gonna hold me.
Exactly.
You gonna shoot me, but you're not gonna shoot them? Yeah, okay.
And then what would they have done if she'd have had a gun?
See, and this is what I'm talking about. This is when we love 12, right? Like I want you to do something 12. I don't like you when you're harassing me 12. Hey, have you seen? You know what's a good subject since we're talking about this? Go look up the Supreme documentary on the Supreme team. I just started watching that.
You talking about Preem and them?
Yeah,
I know about Preem and them. Yeah.
Preem, no, there's a documentary currently on Showtime about.
I don't have Showtime.
I started watching it.
I'm gonna have to go find it somewhere.
So you can look it on the Fire Stick channel, but You know, I saw that.
I got all that.
I saw it, but I started watching it last night, and something stuck. I didn't finish it because I just was I had a lot of stuff going on, like I said, and it was one where they were describing Jamaica Queens back in the 70s and how it was a predominantly Black home ownership area, one of the highest in the whole country at the time. And you had people that were really, these were workers, working class people, nurses, and things like that. And these people really cared about their community. Obviously, this was before crack and everything, but they cared about the community and they wanted to do things.
Reagan, the devil.
Yes. And then, but what I found interesting was they focused on the policing. And this is the late 60s, 70s. They said the police were predominantly white and they would come from predominantly white neighborhoods. So they didn't understand how to police Black people. Exactly. And these weren't just criminals. These were Black people who were citizens and tax-paying citizens who could not be policed. And isn't that what we're going through now? That even the one, like, because of this all goes back to what we're saying. We should be policed
by our own, and we should be represented by our own. We shouldn't have people in the House of Representatives and senators and these motherfuckers representing our communities, and they don't live in our communities.
Well, our own should also be people. Our own may be people with a record. Our own may be people who at a young age did some stuff they regret. But those people would have a more unique insight into the neighborhood. And again, I hear you out there. I hear all you devil's advocates. Well, then there'll be what's to stop them from going back to be criminals? What's to stop you from being a criminal?
Yeah, because
what's to stop anybody from doing
it's like
anything?
The wild, wild west out here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Being an outlaw used to be, a notable thing back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not even notable. See, but and that's why I think I have a very unique outlook on life, because I was raised. I was attempted to be raised in a suburban life, but the hood grew up around us. The crack area grew up around us.
Exactly. Like some of us were in suburban neighborhoods, but they weren't fucking nice neighborhoods.
Nah, it wasn't suburbs like you suburbs. The mailman had a knife on him. But the thing, what I'm saying is, you see the difference in how the neighborhood is run, how the neighborhood is operated with the lack of opportunities, with limited resources. It turns your inhabitants against each other. And then when you take yourself out of that and go put yourself in a quote unquote better neighborhood or a better county or whatever, you see those things don't exist. You see the kids aren't as aggressive with each other. I mean, they go through kid stuff, but there's just a difference in the mentality and the way things are. And the policing is different because the people aren't as upset and as aggressive, right? And you would understand that. So a person who grew up in that environment would understand what someone goes through. So we started talking about gun, but all of this goes into felon and rehabilitation and people's rights.
And then on top of that, you got people who are felons that, are barred from holding guns, and people who are deemed felons because they had drug charges. And then, you know what I'm saying, the war on drugs was fucking strictly a fucking thing for racist, to be racist, right, and to help push the 13th Amendment along.
Well, how do you get a war on drugs that you're bringing in?
Exactly.
So this is and no one wants to talk about that. Like you brought them in, the government allowed them in, still allows them in, and then you blame the people for the results. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Bro, like when I talk about Reagan's the devil, I mean, like, Reagan was the fucking devil, bro. Like he had his hand in that. He had his hand in the FBI. The FBI wouldn't be where it was if it wasn't for fucking Reagan. On top of that, you had Reagan is the one who shut down all funding to mental health in the 80s, bro. Mm-hmm. And that's why nowadays we don't have any type of mental health culture. That's why people going crazy, because saying that, I don't feel good mentally today, I need to have a personal day because I need to get myself together. Nah, what the fuck?
You brought up a great point, and not to get into the Reagan thing, because that's a whole nother podcast. But
oh man,
not only did Reagan do that, he attacked the middle class. Before Reagan, you had bag ladies. You had bag ladies, you had bums, you had drunks, stuff like this. After Reagan, you had whole families out in shanty towns, out of work.
Fucking actor, bro.
Before Reagan, you can have one person, for the most part, you can have one person working and taking care of the family. It just depends on the level of life you wanted. You can have a lower level.
That was supposed to be the American dream.
Never again.
One household income, you could afford a house, kids, a wife, a car, and that was the American dream. Now the American dream is even the kids got to get a goddamn job when they turn old enough. Fuck you talking about?
Working. American dream is to become a TikTok star.
Oh man,
that's the American dream.
I wish I could figure this shit out.
And you do realize, and we're not going to get into that, but TikTok has all of your information. I did not realize this today. After this, go read the terms and conditions of your TikTok. Go read it. They have access. They have access to your audio recordings. They have access to your search history. They have access to you on any other computer. They have access to your entire life. I mean, it is what it is. They have access anyway. It's nothing you can do, right? But it's just showing you that we're closer and closer to the matrix, but it's not what you think. You're not being mined for your bioelectrical signal. You're being mined for your data.
It was all an allegory, but the movie rang true though, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like when you really think about it, bro.
But TikTok,
it wasn't lying.
That's what we're 6 second babies. 6 second babies.
There's a whole theory that everything you see on TV is a lie, and it's just entertainment. Even the stuff that you see is live, and the news is all fake.
Really?
And that everything on television and that you see on the screen is not real. Like apparently, I'm not real. You're not real. We're just.
So someone paid for the thinning hair upgrade? Really?
Yeah. That's what
I feel sorry for you, kid. You got the sucky version of the game. I'm sorry. You paid for the dad bod. You could have paid you could have paid a little extra. Get your dad to swipe his credit card and get me like that. I want that. That's crazy. That's wild. But and here's another conspiracy theory, people. Before we get out of here, go check out where these pictures and videos of Antarctica with no snow are popping up, with whole structures and trees and all these other kind of things. And remember, they found that 100-foot giant squid. But the video of that, you could see that next to the oil tanker. Thing was huge. It was like 100 feet long.
Go look up Admiral Byrd.
Yeah. The hollow earth theory. I've been around that for a long time. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely believe a hollow earth.
Yeah, I'm with.
I think all the planets are hollow.
Personally, Antarctica is supposed to be like
the waypoint, right? Yeah. Look up your Google Maps. Look up your Google Maps, and just for fun, look up Bohemian Grove, and then me and Peebo will come back and we'll talk to you some more about that. Now they really are coming today. Yeah. Yep, they're here. But Peebo, they're giving me 1 minute, brother. So
I heard that.
It has been a pleasure. I would love to get a few of these in before the end of the week. So maybe one more. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I'll hit you this afternoon after I have to do that little thing, and maybe we can get another one in this evening.
Sounds good.
All right, boss. All right, y'all. This has been an Infamous PB0 Part 2. There will be Part 78. There'll be 78 parts to this. So just stay tuned. This is a series. The last podcast will be at our retirement party. So it's gonna keep coming.
Number 78, bro. That's like the second time this week that number popped up. I don't know. I think I need to go play it, but the Mega Millions was last night.
Hey, anybody hit that? By the way?
I don't know. Did they?
I'll go check my tickets. I'll go check my tickets. I know what I'm gonna do.
I forgot all about it.
I know what I'm doing. I'm gonna buy a helper monkey.
I went up there and I looked in there and I seen all them people. I said, "Fuck that! I'm not playing tonight."
I don't know. I might do it. But we'll see you. I'll see you later, brother. It's been all right, boss. Talk to you later.